The Student by Dyanna. She held her silences that came and went. The other students stood up and filled in. I leaned near the window in my office. She sat on the edge of a chair, hips rigid, fidgeting while I made my little speech. February light pressed its cold back against the glass, sealing us in. She focused on my lips as I spoke, as if to study how it's done. The sheer mechanics of it, orchestration of jaw and tongue, teeth shifting in tandem, shaping the air. So I stopped, let her silence drift over us, let it sift in like smoke or snow, let its petals settle on my shoulders. I looked outside to the branches of a stripped tree, winter starlings folded in their speckled wings, chilled flames shuddering at the tips. Students wandered across campus as if underwater, hands and hair unfurling, their soundless mouths churning, erratic or ecstatic, I couldn't tell, ready to burn it all down or break into song. When I looked back, her eyes had found the window, tree, students, birds swimming by, mute in their element. It was painful to hear the paper rasp of her folding and unfolding hands, to watch colors smudging her neck and temple, branching to miss the delicate rim of one ear. I listened to the air sunder between us, a feverish hush collapse. I could hear her breath, smoke rising from ice. I could see what it cost her to make that leap, what heat it takes for the body to blossom into speech.
The collection of poems by Dyanna has many that appeal to the senses and are intriguing. However, one really stood out and felt relevant in my life. I thoroughly enjoy the poem Student by Dyanna. Moving here from Olympia, where I spent my whole 21 years of life, I've seen a change. I've barely been to Spokane for a month, and I found it really bizarre walking around campus and town knowing I won't run into any familiar faces. I'm a huge observer of my surroundings, however, I find myself so often saying the things almost robotically I think people want to hear. I find myself talking to fill the silence for no reason. As a society, we say and give meaningless responses and answers daily. We don't take the time to reflect on the words coming out of our mouth before they evaporate into the air. The poem Student follows a teacher's thought process as she observes a girl in the class who never speaks. The girl observes the world around her. The teacher is intrigued by the thoughts the student must have but never expresses. Our mind processes thousands of visuals and thoughts a minute. To be able to sit back and view the world around you without the need to reaffirm it through language fascinates me. I really enjoy the concept of looking and not feeling this need to express every deep thought with another person. Being able to be so confident with this idea that you have about the world around you that you don't need another person's affirmations. The use of descriptive language and imagery is what makes this poem so good, along with the beautifully worded use of the concept. I think everyone can relate to using words in a meaningless way, or observing someone who really interests them and just can't figure out what's going on in their mind. I think the daily observations of others around me really allows me to appreciate Lox's perception of this through the eyes of the teacher. The first line, "She never spoke," which made her obvious, really emphasizes the uniqueness and mystery this girl portrays. It pulled me into the poem and made me keep reading. Dyanna's use of imagery just blows me away. She uses lines like, "She held her silence to her breast like a worn coat, smoke, an armful of roses." Lox is really wonderfully expressing how loud the girl's silence is, how enthralled the teacher is by the student wondering why she never speaks. Then Lox ends the poem in such a way that made it almost short story-like. She says, "I could hear her breath, smoke rising from ice. I could see what it cost her to make that leap, what heat it takes for the body to blossom into speech." The ending is my favorite part. It just reiterates how important words are. Her by Haley Zigler. Mocha hair pinned back, your silky white blouse buttoned. The smell, floral clinging to you for dear life. 2 pearl-studded earrings frame your smooth skin. Light pink rose brushes the color of your lips, slightly parted. Your toes dip brilliantly in shine black flats, lead you into the woods, pushing you. Forget the world. Look for anew.